Hello, I'm Patricia McNeely from Twin Flame Body. I am a Blu-ray Twin Flame in Chicago, Illinois. And today I hope you're doing well. Today in this video, what I want to talk to you about, because you're going to be seeing a lot of it over the next year, is what we might term mystery illnesses and Ascension symptoms. So what are these and what are the differences? I'm going to be doing a couple videos on this because it is important that people understand Ascension is here. The shift has happened. In fact, it happened actually a couple of years ago. It's just catching up to us now. So this is something that we have been expecting. People have been talking about it. People have been reporting energy shifts. And yet now that it kind of hits home, in other words, now that it's down to earth, it gets weird. It gets sort of confusing and baffling to people. I want to take some of the mystery out of it because there is a difference between what you're experiencing and what the medical community may know. And worldwide, yes, we have to admit there is something happening. So while people might say, told you so, I don't believe that we have to go around like that. We do have to absolutely focus on the self. And part of the difference is that you have an inner twin. That was my very first video to talk about. You have a twin inside you. Now, we're right on this new moon energy. We're in a Pluto retrograde until October. Pluto retrograde is going to make things very strange because this is digging out more of the garbage that needs to go. And if it's personal, it's going to show up. So it's going to address things such as addictions, mental illnesses, issues of fatigue, which may be very baffling for people, and a lot of symptoms that are hard to define because they may pop out in different parts of your body. And when you have a worldwide pandemic going on, you might say, well, how do I distinguish the difference between it if I can't get tested or something like that? With a virus, you're going to show a fever, and there is a viral load you need to reach before your body spikes like that. That is why some people can be asymptomatic and still seem to be a carrier. They are still in a relatively healthy position. But this puts you absolutely on the vanguard of having to boost your own immune system. Now, what I teach and what I do is to help people disentangle from whatever you shouldn't be carrying around, including people, people's energies, what they've done to you in the past. What if someone is a really, really good soulmate, but they need to step aside for what you really need, for what really needs to come into your life? Not just what you need, who you need. What if that? We never seem to give credit out there for there could be someone who is good enough and honorable to just step aside, bow gracefully out of the picture, or bow ungraciously out of the picture and reject you, ghost you. They don't know how to handle it the right way. But there's a second piece to this, and that means prepping and priming your body, which is what I teach. Prime yourself for these sacred sexual experiences and keeping it going, because that level is the love that nourishes you. Only you can get it deep inside. People are not allowed anymore to intrude in your energies and, siphon it off. And this is why this whole disentangling from the past, why it is a lengthy and drawn out process, so that you really don't have a full nervous breakdown. But what are some of the things that are happening? Well, in a in a Pluto retrograde, there is deep stuff. Pluto is sort of like what you might call like that dark underworld. It's going to be shadowy stuff. It's going to be the shadows that show up. The things like domestic violence, the things like the drug use, the things like that people like to keep hidden. So what helps with this? Having a strong, healthy, boosted immune system. What else will people experience? They're going to experience a release of deep mental issues. And those can range anywhere from, like, on the mild side, where they like to belabor a point, they like to pick a fight over nothing, they like to provoke people. They will say to you time and again, it's the principle of the thing. Now, I say in this isolation, that's probably a good thing that you don't have some of that. But what if you live with it? You have to be able to ignore some of it, because otherwise you don't want it to cling to you. What else is happening? A heaviness of heart, very heavy. So deep mental issues, this can be very troubling for people if they feel that they are somehow trapped in some kind of twin flame relationship with someone who's a narc or abuser or neglector, or someone who's irresponsible, someone they have to constantly, they feel like an enabler. They're just an enabler, and they're picking up pieces or something. That's not how you're supposed to live, and that's not what love is expecting of you. Love is expecting you to detach the patterns and clean your mind, clean your body, and get things out. But how do you do it? I teach it very simply with my modality of twin flame body. What are men going to experience? Well, a lot of men are having bad headaches. They are having headaches that feel like they're deep inside, like there's a pressure down on top of their head. And this is somewhat debilitating and discouraging for a lot of men, because it makes them feel very tired. They can feel very tired of it, not very sharp mentally. It can feel a bit brain foggy, like they don't want to string two things together. They have no enthusiasm for anything. If there's a man in your life who is experiencing this, cut them some slack. And please understand, these are some of the effects of the Pluto retrograde. The masculine energy is highly stressed because of this whole COVID thing and finding a solution, making decisions, what to do. It is affecting people everywhere. There's nobody I've talked to all over the world that isn't feeling some effect of it. Even if it's just staying home, you're going to feel it. What else can happen on a man's body when he's going through some of this? Hearing voices, seeing things, struggling with perception problems, struggling with things such as facial expressions, tones of voice, hearing voices say things. It can even verge into paranoia, such as feeling spied on, feeling that people are out to get you. And these are really tough on a couple if that is someone you love, if that is someone in your house, if it's the dad, the father, if it's your brother, if it's someone you care about. This is a really tough thing. And yet, seeking help for it and not ignoring it is actually the best thing to do. We are in an actual new time here. This isn't just a new decade. So at the beginning of the year, I did a video called The Life You Might Have Had versus the Life You Will Have. I knew that there would be changes before the beginning of this year pertaining to what you were avoiding in the type of life you might have had. What is that exactly? Well, it has to do with illness, it has to do with behaviors, and it has to do with hidden things in the household. Now, if you're living with your twin flame, do you want them to hide their addiction problems? Do you want them to hide the fact that they need someone else to get their sparks going? Do you need to hide the fact that they have things that run in their families, such as illnesses, high blood pressure, other types of addictions, such as drugs and alcohol? If you live with your twin flame, do you need to find out the hard way that they are a gold digger and that there's just been things up the sleeve and schemes and agendas? Or are you wanting to unravel some of these patterns ahead of time? So the life you might have had versus the life you will have and should have is at work here. Now, what else? Fatigue. Fatigue comes in many forms. And it can be anything from extra sleep to needing to take naps. There's something about this energy that is very, very sluggish. It's like slogging through quicksand. It's like slogging through the mud to get to the shore of where you need to start getting on the road. And it is not an easy energy to be in. It taxes the heart and it taxes the senses up in the head. Now, what about women? Because a lot of women are attached to men. A lot of gay men are attached to their man. And so, what do you do about this? What are you feeling? Well, fear issues for one thing. Fear issues, what kind of fears? Believe it or not, it has a lot to do not with mortal fear, but some of the sickening things that just happen again and again and again and again until they grind you down into, feeling very discouraged, where you're saying, again, am I supposed to tolerate this? No. You're supposed to get out from under it and get moving by focusing on yourself, and that is what I teach. What else? You can be experiencing something that feels like heavy heart. And again, you may attribute this to someone who may have been a soulmate, who, as I say, may have graciously bowed out of the picture and out of your life, never to be seen or heard from again, or heard from only briefly. And you may have wondered at it. But are you attributing this heavy heart to what has happened? How is it affecting you? Is it making it challenging to carry your heart energy and bring it up to where it belongs again? Did you feel an elation when you were in love? When somebody loved you, everything was beautiful. That's a quote from a song. But it doesn't have to be that way. I absolutely specialize in helping people get out of these things because not only do I understand it, this is the result of love lost. This is the love that is unrequited. And this is love that in past lives has made you think you just have to try harder. You were doing it wrong. You try harder, you lost. You missed out. You missed the boat. No. The real love is connected deep inside you. And so I specialize in removing the layers that keep you in a state of dysfunction or illness or series of ascension symptoms. One thing I can let everybody know about this year is that take this in the spirit offered by God. You're going to have to learn your body and you're going to have to do the body work because the body, the twin flame body, and the template of subtle bodies that it envelops are absolutely brand new. You don't have only 7 chakras. You have things that are trying to move around and shift off out of all of the garbage. It's like trying to lift out of a trash compactor. It is sluggish. Okay. Now, what if you're feeling some of this, but you feel super annoyed and you feel irritated and you would like to just lash out on someone? That happens too. What have you suppressed in this life or a past life? What is triggering you out? Because it can be a trigger to hear some of the truth. It can be a trigger just to be triggered. And even when nobody or nothing is trying to provoke you. So I have written about these things in my book. I have actually 6 books out that are very helpful for you with your whole process. Twin flame relationships and twin flame ascension and breath. And also coming up here, because this will help a majority of people, twin flame sleep and ascension. My sleep book is excellent, especially if you are having things go on in your sleep. It explains a lot. It tells you what to do because you will no longer have an attachment to the 4th dimension. You're getting kicked out. These kind of deep mental issues, these voices, That's a part of leaving the fourth dimension. You're not being allowed to stay there because there is something better for you. And it involves true togetherness. So even though people come together in what we call union, the other parts of it, all of those stages you might have been through, all of those, whatever you might call them, 3 stages, 5 stages, 8 stages, doesn't matter. Now you're in phase two, which is integration and the continuation of getting rid of the past. So with the integration, there's some really good news there because you're actually putting in connections that keep you two connected together. Your central nervous system doubles up, and even that is a wild experience. And it brings a lot of good things. It brings great experiences, really high level activation experiences. How would you like to be at the point where you start affecting some of your activations? How would you like to be at the point where you start skimming over some of these lunar energies and feeling like you ditched it, even if other people around you are going through things? How would you like to stop feeling like a victim or feeling like a put upon, martyr who's, been sacrificing things and trying to understand and trying to give more love until you feel like I'm out of love? You're not really out of love. You're just out of the old way of doing it. It's reached its end. You've sort of come to that like wall where, and the only way is up and over. And that is what I teach people to do because I'm a firm believer in you being empowered, in you being strong. And if you do not boost your immune system, if you do not get your respiratory system healthy, your heart healthy, you're going to be lost in this. That's some of the best advice I can give you. This is more than just physical where, you're running to get your blood pressure in shape. You need to be able to have a level of a high vibration that you're maintaining in a dense environment in order to hold higher love. So people who do this actually find that it buoys them up, and the things that I outlined for you, it doesn't take a lot to do that once you kind of get there. But it involves throwing out the heaviness of the past. And that's different for everyone. There's cosmic past, there's the ancestral past, there's your past of your biology, there's your own habits and behaviors and lifestyle. That's a big piece. People do not understand how much lifestyle has contributed to some of this illness. Take smoking, for example. Do you think you can have a healthy immune system and smoke? I will tell you right now, absolutely not. And take this as a person who breathed a lot of secondhand smoke back in the day. So before it was banned in a lot of places, a lot of us had that situation. Our families smoked, or we breathed secondhand smoke. It is not pretty. It may look like it's cool, but it's not pretty. And so these things, let me put it this way. Your higher self wants you to be healthy, but your higher self also knows what's healthy, and deep inside you, you do too. You know that certain patterns of love that you might experience are not healthy for you. Why wait? Why are you going to put it off for some day or some lifetime? Get with it now, because I guarantee you, you will be glad you did. And not only that, there's a thing to know about what's happening here. The literal air is clearing. And this is something to know. When things get back to normal, you have to have a boosted immune system, because if you're going to go back to breathing stuff or having things in your environment or having your other half with their social lifestyle, it's going to be a challenge, to say the least. So I'm not saying these things to scare you. I'm saying it to you because of my guidance, because of what I have experienced, what I've prototyped, and what I've formatted in my books to help people get easily through it with guidance, directions, and specific directions to help you do it. I want to take the mystery out of it. I want you to feel empowered. I don't want you to feel like you're the victim of a series of mystery illnesses, because I read the articles. I read the little things that say if you take this medication, you will experience that, you might experience this. Those happen to people who already have their angelic stuff up and running. So there is a balance to it. It is a fine art of the metaphysical intuition that I am capable of doing to help people. And so if you have something, I'm going to give you one other example. A couple months ago, we every month we have these new moon events, and we have things like Mercury retrograde 4 times a year. Some people are old hands at this, but if this is new to you, please pay attention. There are times when the energies sort of take a dive, and that's when you can feel yourself that you have low energy. It feels like God just wants you to go lay down, take a nap, take the hint. But what else happened? What is being purged out, triggered out of you? That's where it gets weird, because people sometimes go into that spiritual emergency and they wind up at the emergency room. Now, this was related to me after the fact, where instead of a couple of sessions, someone wound up with a $6,000 emergency room bill for something that were Ascension symptoms. And yes, there was a history of drug use, and yes, there was smoking involved. So this is why I say to people, start it and continue with it, because there are other costs that come up with this. This is costing all of us dearly to not be healthy, to not be well. Accidents happen, genetics happen. You have things that run in your family. But how would you like a brand new template, a brand new twin flame body to help you be well and healthy and bounce up and sort of skim away from a lot of it? Sound good? Well, let me tell you, I didn't quite understand it myself until I started living it and prototyping it. And by the way, the prototyping only goes so far. You have to customize it for the things that you two want. And yes, I'm a firm believer that everybody has somebody. I'm going to say it like that. Everybody has somebody who loves them. It's connected in here. Be confident, be yourself, learn, grow, learn about this. You don't have to become a healer. The key is doing what you do love best and take care of the light body that is brand new. That is what is being offered here. So thanks so much for watching. The links are below. You can reach me at twinflamesmerge.com or twinflamebody.com, or write me at twinflamebody@gmail.com. If you want to find out where some of the new chakra connections are, I have a great webinar that is pre-recorded called New Lives, New Timelines. And the link is below, and I will wish you a good day, and please be positive. Do not give in to the fears. Do not give in to the fear mongering. There's a thing happening, and it's going to wind up having a good outcome. Thank you. Bye.